sacrifice.
The house of God.
Good afternoon, dear televiewers, and welcome here to another edition of our program, Youth Corner, where we journey with the young persons to see how to make ourselves as young people a better one, and likewise the Diocese of Buea a better place for everybody. During the last edition of our program, we're talking about how to manage ourselves, to manage puberty, and likewise our sexuality as young persons. And I believe the message went through in today's edition of the program. We shall be talking about the youth behavior in the age of mental health awareness, and we shall focus on the challenges and the opportunities. In today's edition of the program, I am joined today on set by my left by the Diocese Youth President in the person of Mr. Fobart Leonard. Mr. Leonard, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, brother, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and air out a few views on this TV channel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leonard. While on my right, I have Madame Epoli Doris. Madame Doris, you're welcome. You're always there.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you for having me.
Dear televiewers, we shall begin our program by talking about the mental health awareness in our world today. We see the young persons really need of directives when it comes to health perspective, and likewise their mental health, because the challenges are enormous, and likewise the difficulties in our world today, because it is a cry of every parent to see his or her child grow up as a better person, and likewise as someone who is healthy. And so we are out here today in today's edition of the program to help you as parents, not just parents, but to help us as young persons to see how to better ourselves. And so I would like to begin with you, Mr. Leonard. What are some of the common health challenges facing young people in our world today?
Thank you very much, brother, and that's a good one there to begin with. They are looking at the health challenges that are plaguing the youth of nowadays. I want us to look at it from different angle, because by the definition of health, it's a state of complete physical, social, and mental well-being, and not necessarily the absence of diseases and infirmities. And so, if you want to look at the type of health challenges that affects the young persons of nowadays, I would like us to look at them from that angle. We look at the mental part of it, we look at the physical part of it, we look at the social part of it, because all of these putting together forms a holistic person, and the youth as a whole is that holistic person. A classical example of such a challenge that affects the youth of nowadays is we look at depression, which is one of the main focus of the health challenges of today. Depression, and you have some STIs, like these sexually transmitted infections, because the youth of today, they are mostly active and mostly get themselves involved in these health practices which are not welcoming, because we know some of these we need to wait for them when we are married, or they are married, to be precise. And also looking at the social part of it, many youths of nowadays, I want to be precise with the youth, tend to misunderstand their present stance as a youth in the social aspect or in the social domain, because they are not yet groomed to have that background knowledge of how they are supposed to approach the social part of their life. And so the whole aspect of mental health will fall in. We have depression, we have anxiety, and we have like psychosis, what we call frank madness. You see people behave the way they behave. Some become I don't know, they stay away from other things which they are supposed to get themselves involved in. So I think for now, these are some of the key things that affects the young persons of nowadays when it comes to the health perspective.
Thank you very much then, Mr. Leonard. You have spoken to us about the mental health, the physical and the social health, and likewise mentioned depression and anxiety. I would like us to start with mental health, because from your definition of health, it shows that the physical and the social are other domains of health. So I would like us to stay with mental health as of now. Madam Doris, I would like to turn to you. We know we are afraid of mental health, and I believe you know what it is. So how can we address How can we address such a situation when it comes to when we're talking about mental health?
When we talk about mental health, brother, especially in the youths of our nowadays, especially the youths we have today, there are several ways we can address these mental health issues. First things first, we need to educate them. Education is a key aspect of addressing mental health, because people have mental health issues and they do not know that they have mental health issues. So when they are educated, they are able to identify that this is a mental health problem. I'm passing through a mental health crisis. They are able to identify the problem. Now there are other ways which when you have identified the problem, identified that this is a mental health issue, then you can now start addressing. You can start handling the situation. There are several ways you can handle mental health issues in youths. One of the ways is by TV programs. Like I know on the TV channel Divine Mercy Radio Television, there is a program called My Mental Health. Those are one of the ways we can address mental health issues. On that program, we talk about mental health issues, how to identify mental health issues, how to handle mental health issues, how to cope with mental health issues, how to help those living with mental health issues. Another way we can address these mental health issues is by creating a suitable environment for people passing through mental health issues. Like I mentioned before, that people do not know that they pass through mental health problems. Sometimes you can even define mental health issues and they do not understand. They can still not match their symptoms with the definition you have given. So when you start creating a suitable environment for communication, for easy communication, for them to listen and be heard, for them to hear and be heard, from there they can get an in-depth of mental health explanation, mental health definition, and then they can understand what mental health is. Maybe at that point in time they can be able to identify that, oh, this thing I am passing through, this thing I am going through is a mental health crisis. It is not witchcraft. It is not something which is abnormal. It is not something which has not been seen before, and it's not something which cannot be handled, because we need to understand that mental health issues are things which can be handled. These things can be managed, unlike before when we were oblivious of the fact that mental health is something which can be managed. We do not know what mental health issues are. Now these issues, we have identified them, we know how to handle these issues. Another issue too is being able to talk to people, having an environment people can be able to talk to you, and also teaching them coping mechanisms, how to cope with these mental health issues, because you have identified the problem, you have heard from them, you have listened, they have listened to you too. Now it doesn't just end there. How do they cope with this problem? How can they handle these issues? When we identify coping mechanisms like easy communication, like being able to handle your self-esteem, like being to know that you are enough, you are okay, what you are passing through is not something which is abnormal. These new coping mechanisms can help us to manage and better handle mental health issues, especially among the youths of our days.
Thank you very much, Madam Doris. It is also proper that we know how to cope, know how to manage. But Ms. Adolin, I would like to come back to you. I know we are talking about mental health, and some persons might not understand what are some of the illnesses that fall under mental health. So would you like to give us some of the things that fall under mental health, so that at least we know where we are heading to?
Thank you very much. Yeah, mental health is a very broad topic when it comes to health issues, and it's something which people nowadays are not aware of. I'm even happy there's an awareness campaign going on globally, not only in Cameroon, and to be precise in our diocese. It's something which is going around. It's on the list of those diseases that takes away the lives of people silently. So a classical example of mental health condition, or a condition that may come out from mental health as a whole, is I mentioned anxiety. Many persons don't know that anxiety is a medical condition which needs immediate address. And how does it manifest in you? You know, you might have you might become anxious over something which you don't have control over, and thinking that it is a normal way of life. But once it becomes persistent over a particular period, let's say 2 weeks, and you are being diagnosed alongside with associated signs and symptoms, it becomes a health concern which needs help. It needs therapy, and it needs, because therapy is one of the treatment, it needs also physical medication, it needs counseling as a whole. Another type of condition that stems from this mental health is we have psychosis. Psychosis is a medical term for what is called frank madness. You see the madman along the road. Not to call him a madman, you can say that's a psychotic patient. It means he's insane. And if you look at what put him to that state, he wasn't born like that. It's as a result of the things which he had in him and he never had the opportunity to bring out. And therefore, they began accumulating over the years. So at one point in time, they burst out. So pushing him to that particular state. I don't want to dive into the gymnastics or the explanation of how all of these things come about. I'm just giving a summary of how this frank madness come about. You see a young person today walking down the street, and tomorrow you see him mad, walking naked, and you begin to ask, wow, what is happening? Maybe he must have, or she must have gotten his or her hands dirty, as we know nowadays, dirty, which is, we know the dirty which I'm talking about. And so, if you want to look at it from the health perspective, you realize that there's an aspect of mental health that must have pushed him for us to see what is exacerbating now as the physical. Another one again is, I would say it's, there's this, they call it a mania. Mania is a kind of a condition, it's a kind of mental condition whereby it comes with a kind of fear in you, a fear of doing things. You are afraid to do things. At times you are even afraid to talk. And you see those kind of persons will feel withdrawn, and at the end of the day they will feel like the world, there's nothing meaningless again about the world. What they used to like, they don't longer like, and at the end of the day, suicide steps in. Isolation steps in. They don't want to associate themselves with people. They just want to live in their own world. And a good number of times you will see these people push themselves to self-harm. They might either harm themselves, or they will find the next person beside them to cause this harm to them. So those are some of the immediate health concerns that lingers around mental health.
Thank you very much there, Mr. Leonard. You have mentioned anxiety, you have mentioned psychosis, and likewise mania. I would like to quote a philosopher here in the person of Soren Kierkegaard. Soren Kierkegaard says, anxiety comes as a result of us choosing that which is unethical. And for him, that which is unethical is that which is sinful. And so we should watch ourselves very well. Not that you always choose. We know, yes, they will say all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Yes, that is true. But now, you live perpetually in sin, you become anxious about so many things because you always want to choose that which does not suit you or does not suit your person as an individual, and likewise as a young person. And so we should watch ourselves. Madam Doris, I would like to turn to you. We have spoken about anxiety. Anxiety, we see nowadays, anxiety is something which is very common. Some persons don't see it as a deficiency. So how can we come out of something like anxiety?
For something like anxiety, brother, like you mentioned, some people don't see it as a problem. Some people do not even know that what they are passing through is anxiety. Now, first things first, the way we can come out, like I mentioned before, we have to know what is anxiety. That way you're able to identify that this thing I am passing through is anxiety. From there, you are able to get help, to seek help, because you cannot do it on your own. It is true that yes, some people might try, but at the end of the day, you are going to need help. Like my president mentioned here, some people there's counseling, there's therapy. Some people even take drugs. They're prescribed medicines to help them come out of this issue. So when we have issues like anxiety, brother, we have to understand that there are various ways which we can handle all these things. Like we mentioned, there's counseling, there's therapy, and there are other shows. Like I mentioned here, my mental health on ZMR TV shows how we can watch. Now there are educational books that we can read, and the good thing is there's also the Word of God. I think that is like the best medicine for anxiety. There's some psalms that we read and then it just gives you peace. The Bible is one book that gives peace to the heart. It instills a certain calmness in you that even medicine cannot give. It instills a certain peace and it restores your mental health in a way that even medicines cannot do it. So that is a place I always recommend whoever it is that is passing through anxiety to go to the Bible. Always go back to the Bible, study the Word of God. There's a certain peace that the Word of God gives you that man cannot give. And also seek help from human beings, because those people, and God was not a fool to put in counselors, put in medical personnel to produce those drugs or to have those things that can help you. So seek help. We should have therapists, counselors, and that's why, like we mentioned last time, it is important that we should have counselors in schools, in hospitals, in youth camps. We hope that in this our upcoming youth rally, we are going to have a therapist or a counselor there who will be there to talk to us about these things, because the honest truth is so many young persons are passing through all these issues that my president mentioned here, Brother Leo. There's so much anxiety. So many persons have anxiety, and if you want to look around, brother, the anxiety they have is some things which are not even important, things which even have no base, things which have no foundation. We are letting things which have no base, no foundation, no behind, no in front, to give us so much anxiety, to give us a lot of unrest. So we should always go back to the holy book, to go back to our the groups that we find ourselves, go back to counselors, go back to therapists. All these persons will help us to come out of anxiety. And you too, as a person, you as a young person, you have to tell yourself that you are enough. Tell yourself that you can overcome this anxiety, because by your word of mouth you have already overcome that anxiety. Tell yourself that this is enough, you can do this thing, and with all of these things put together, I believe that, brother, we can overcome this anxiety.
Thank you very much, Madam Doris. We need to go out to seek help in order to overcome anxiety. Mr. Leonard, I would like to turn back to you once again. Is anxiety and depression the same thing?
Anxiety and depression are not the same thing, but in the context of mental health, they fall under the broad heading of mental health. But anxiety is like a subset of the mental health, as well as you have depression being a subset of mental health. Depression is just necessarily the state, or it's an onset of you losing interest in the things that you used to like at first. You see, the things you used to like, and the how you used to feel, you just all of a sudden you lose interest. It might be as a result of, let's say, your past history or relationship. You just from a broken relationship. You might be suffering from, or they have just delivered your diagnosis after you went to the hospital to consult. They tell you, oh, you have been diagnosed of so and so illness, and behind your mind, oh, how can I be having this kind of illness? You know, you start having these thoughts in your mind like, no, it cannot be me. You start denying yourself. And by looking at anxiety, you are just, in a layman term, you're just being anxious over something which is not necessarily there. You might be anxious. Anxiety can come. It's a normal part of our life. But when it becomes something which interferes with your day-to-day survival and living, it becomes a problem. For example, we are on TV right now. Not everybody has the courage to come and sit on TV and talk. You might tell somebody you'll be on TV to talk. The person starts feeling anxious. The hands are sweating, start feeling tremor. The person cannot compose his or herself, and the heart starts pounding. You know. But if this interferes with how you survive your day to day, it becomes a problem. So, anxiety, depression, I would say there are two different medical conditions under mental health conditions, and they are treatable. I would like to say this: if you look at our emotion, the way we feel, the way we think, our psychological, our psychosocial, and our social well-being as a whole, all of these is as a result of our mental state of our mind. And I always tell people when I come across them, what you impact in the mind of a child at that preliminary stage, from the toddler stage right up to the preschool and the school age, right up to the pubertal and whatnot, what enters that child's head is going to come out in the future. So it's like you are teaching a child to be improperly dressed today at that juvenile stage. That child will think that you are doing him or her the best thing, but you don't know that you are putting in that child negative thoughts in the mind. And so tomorrow, when the child grows up and sees that everybody around his environment doesn't dress the way he or she does, that child will tend to feel like, oh, maybe they hate me. They don't want me to belong in this society, because there must be somebody in that society who will tell that child, please, the way you are dressing is not proper. And that child will look at that person giving that correction to be like enemy of progress in quotes, and doesn't want his happiness or her happiness And those who want him to feel the way he does, like nowadays they will tell you, I dress the way I feel, I do what I feel, I say what I feel, I have monopoly over what I feel. And I think that separating these two is really going to help us. I've just quoted that example of what comes into the mind. That one will lead us to clean and clear depressive state of that particular individual. And just to conclude on this, if you look at the way people behave today, it's not something which they just get up one day and then they do. Those are premeditated thoughts that has been stored within them, and a circumstance has just act as a catalyst or as a trigger for these things to come out. And so that's why you see some behaviors. You see a child insulting an adult. We see it like, oh, this is not normal, but to that person it's normal. Mm-hmm. If you look at his background, where he or she's coming from, maybe it's an environment where a junior person can talk to an adult anyhow and you go scot-free. Exactly. But in an organized society, you try that, you will not go scot-free. And when you punish that child, you who have given the punishment to that child, be it psychological punishment or physical punishment, you will be termed as a bad person. But they forget to know that you are trying to correct them to go to the right path of life.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leonard. Depression or anxiety are two different strings, but they fall under the mental health sciences, as we have heard, and likewise the environment has a great role to play, and likewise the parents. Madam Doris, I would like to get a little bit personal now with you. Have you ever been anxious before?
Yes, brother, I have been anxious. In short, not to even go far, I was anxious yesterday. I was a whole lot anxious yesterday, but like I mentioned before, take it to the Lord and leave it there. That is one very, very strong medicine of anxiety, depression, and all that. That is one very, very strong medicine. Yes, and I have not just yesterday. There are other times when I have had issues where it feels like my heart. When in these Tom and Jerry cartoons, you can see the heart making like this. Yes, I've had those times when it feels like I can see my heart going like this. I can hear my heartbeat. I feel like even the next person sitting that far, like President Leonardo, can hear my heartbeats. I've had those times. I've had those moments. But the one good thing is, before I used to have them and I did not even know that's what I was passing through. But thank God, with the coming of education, all these shows, all these talks on mental health, with more people creating the awareness on mental health issues, on anxiety, on depression, on other issues which fall under mental health issues, you're able to identify this is what you're passing through, and then you are able to get out of it. I think one of the ways which I was able to overcome my own issues was I have a trusted person I can always run to. First things first, before yesterday even, I've always had someone I can always run to, and now I have learned to control myself. I've learned to be calm in whatever situation. No matter how it comes to me, first things first, I breathe in, I breathe out. Because that's one very beautiful technique in handling anxiety. You have to breathe in, breathe out a couple of times until you feel that you are calm enough to face the situation ahead of you. I've had people I can talk to, people who can advise people, who can listen to me. Because sometimes I just need someone to listen. I'm just like, don't say anything. Just stay on call and just listen. Don't give any solution. Just stay, just listen. Because sometimes when you talk, it feels like you have lifted a whole stone from your chest, a whole stone from your heart, and you feel lighter. Because sometimes they always say problem is a problem half solved. You have not fully solved it, but at least half of the problem is at least gone. And one other thing too is, when we learn to calm yourself down, when you learn to speak to yourself, we should also learn to speak positive affirmations to ourselves. We should learn to tell yourself that you can do this. You are able to overcome this situation. This thing is not bigger than you. This thing is not bigger than your God. Obviously, your God is bigger than all of this. And if that God that you have is bigger than all of this, then definitely you are going to overcome all of these things. So that's just a few of the ways I'm able to overcome anxiety, overcome these issues where I feel like my whole world is crushing, is crumbling down, and I cannot handle it. I breathe in, I breathe out, I talk to whoever I can talk to, and I also talk to my God. I go through the Bible, a few psalms that I go through, which help to instill calmness and peace in my heart.
Thank you very much there, Madam Doris. For her to manage anxiety, she breathes in and out, and likewise she has somebody that she turns to, and she said she also has somebody that can listen. And I think that is one of the most important things in life, to be someone who listens. Yes,
and, brother, yes, sorry to cut you short. I'd just like to mention that we're talking about somebody who can listen. We have to talk about not just somebody who can listen, a trusted person who can listen. Because one of the issues we have today is that people are scared to talk, people are scared to speak up, a lot of young persons are going through depression, having anxiety, and before long we see them displaying there's a word but Leonard used there, frank something. We see them frank madness, displaying frank madness on the street. It's because they had a whole lot of things bottled up in them. Yes, and they don't have somebody they can talk to. Maybe they have spoken to somebody before and the person heard that dirty linen outside, so now they are scared. Maybe they have seen that there's no person that they can trust. So one thing is, have a trusted person that you can always run to, no matter the situation. Somebody that you trust, somebody who will not air your dirty linen outside. And for me, I can always say that my sister is one person that I know I can call at any hour of the day, any hour of the night, and she'll always listen, and she'll never use whatever I say against me.
Thank you very much, then, Madam Doris. Where we are out to listen, we should listen without judging. Yes, we should listen objectively and see how to help the individual in question, because listening itself is solving a problem, because some persons tend to listen and judge, but when we listen and we listen objectively, then I think we'll help the individual who is in need, as we are all saying. So, Mr. John, I would like to turn to you. We are preparing to host the Western Youth Week, which is coming up on the 15th. How do you plan? What are the plans put in place to start to manage some of these things, some of these mental health disorders? Because we know some persons come there, they see some of these gatherings as their comfort zone. See some of these gatherings as where they express themselves. So what are some of the plans put in place to see how to curve down some of these challenges?
Okay, that's a good one there, and I think it's really important that we talk about it this time around and see what to do, because of recent we've noticed that the gatherings of young persons nowadays, not necessarily that of the church, has been fueled with acts of violence, being moderate, mild, and severe violence. And thank God lives have not been lost and people are still there. You know, anywhere you gather youth, expect the outcome. You always have these tendencies clashing, egos clashing. Now, it brings me to Sigmund Freud. He's a renowned psychoanalyst. And Sigmund Freud, I would like to also look at the theory of the mind. Just picture, we all know what an iceberg is. When an iceberg is on the water, you see just the little part, which is on top floating, but the greater part is below. So, that greater part which is below, is what is our subconscious, while the part which is above is the conscious part that we see. You could imagine that part, and you could imagine the unresolved conflicts that youths have from their various homes where they are coming from. They have their problems back in their houses, and where they think they can settle these problems is at these rally grounds. Now, a classical strategy we've put in place is that we have begun education, proper education and sensitizing. It didn't start now. We started it long back in our various meetings and forums that we find ourselves. In the forums that we also have, we have been talking about all of these. We have also pleaded with the chaplains to also try as much as possible to counsel their youth, organization of small intergroups discussion, and which are focused mostly on how they can be themselves mentally, as to be precise, and putting in place scenarios whereby if you have a challenge in you, you can rush to an individual and present your worry. My Madam Doris over there mainly mentioned of the fact that speaking to someone, which is very important, and not any type of person. I can decide and go to person A, but person A might not have the tools that I will need to cultivate my situation which I'm passing through. Yes, you are an adult. I don't deny that fact. You are a senior youth, or you are educated. But if you don't have what it takes to meander around some of these things along the inside the youth, then you will not deliver the goods. A youth might walk up to you and explain a kind of, let's say, a female kind of problem to you. Let's say an issue that has to do with maybe her menses. She's seen it for her first time and she's surprised, oh, what is this? And because you're an adult lady doesn't necessarily mean you know how to handle that. And so I think we have put in place persons who can address key situations like that. Now, in the talks that we are going to have for that event, we've separated it into two. We are going to have that for the adults and that for the young persons, because the way the adult will comprehend a certain message is not the same which that 7 to 14 years child is going to comprehend that message, or the way he's going to digest it. And so I think the platforms have already been put in place. The media also as a whole, like presently we are now talking about those type of issues. I think if they are following us, they are going to have a lot of information that pertains to that. And also their leaders, the leaders that they come with. We have had sessions with them. The last one we had was in Moliko, in St. Charles Longer Parish, there, where we spoke about this as a whole, for them to also educate their youth, because they better know those youth more than we at this tertiary level. They at the primary level, they have day-to-day access to these youth and those and the closeness as a whole. And we at the tertiary level, we are just there to manage them from that distance. And so we always tend to rely on them for the information that we need to better off co-manage these youth.
Thank you very much there, Mr. Leonard. You have talked about sensitization when it comes to youth gatherings. Madam Doris, I would like to turn to you. We are at the tertiary level, while you are at the secondary level, because you get in contact with these young persons. How far is this sensitization taking effect in the young persons in your deanery that you are the president?
Yes, brother, this sensitization, we are, like my president mentioned, he has been reminding us through the PRO of a particular clause of the Constitution about issues like this. So we have been doing all these things back and forth, and it has been coming down to us at the deanery level and down to the parish level. Now we are making sure that we inform all our youths, be you the junior or the senior youth. Make sure we inform all our youths that there is a certain level of discipline expected of you at the rally ground. Not just at the rally ground, but generally as a youth of the Diocese of Boya. There's a certain way you are expected to behave as a youth of the Diocese of Boya. We make sure that we always tell our youths, and we always tell them that, especially when we are going out, when we are going out of our deanery, you cannot step out of your deanery to the entire diocese at large and you start misbehaving. And one thing too, like our president mentioned there, we the presidents, we know these youths. So whenever we go for these things, we make sure that if there are a few persons that we pinpoint and say, we have come to this place, we expect you to behave yourself properly. We expect you to toe the line. You are not going to come here and put a bad name on our deanery. We are going to toe the line. This does not just end at the level of the diocese. Even when we have deanery meetings, parish meetings, we make sure that we call these persons to order, because some few persons have proven time and again that they want to be above others. But we make sure that we tell them that in the youth ministry, in the youth federation, there is hierarchy. You are always going to respect others. It doesn't even mean, even minus the hierarchy, as long as someone is a youth like you, be it your senior or your junior youth, respect is for everyone, no matter the age of that person, no matter the height of that person, no matter the status of that person. So this is one thing that we make sure that we always sensitize our youth. And even now, as a parent to go for this rally in July, just a few weeks from now, we are sensitizing our youths day in, day out. We are making sure to tell them that you as a youth of this does have to behave yourself. And if you have a problem, come to the right quarters. Don't handle it on, because you might want to handle and you might overhandle it. So come to the right quarters, and the right quarters to address these issues, because like my president mentioned here, necessary measures have been put in place to address whatever situations that come up, be it in the level of discipline, be it in the level of social, in whatever area that these issues come up. Measures have been put in place to address all these issues and to make sure that every youth who comes to that rally ground come July 15th is going to have a wonderful stay. They are going to love being part of this diocese, and that way they also encourage others to come and join us in the Diocese of Boya.
Thank you very much there, Madam Doris. We are hoping the same way as Tico Deanery is preparing, and they are ensuring that these measures put in place takes full effect in Tico Deanery. The other deaneries like Limbe Deanery, Bota Deanery, Moyoka Deanery, Bafia Deanery, Mutengene Deanery, and Munya Deanery will also put into place these effects or this sensitization that has been going out, so that everything is going to fall in place. Mr. President, I would like to turn once more again to you we know the media provides us with a lot of information, and one of the things it provides us with is about mental health. How much authentic is the information we get from the media about mental health?
Yeah, the media is a very powerful tool. To be precise, it's a very powerful tool which we don't need to joke with. And pertaining to this particular discussion issue, I think they are trying their best, but we need to be careful on what we get from the media. And there are a lot of research topics and journals that have been written about this particular issue, which you can pick anyone and read. But I wish to say that not every geographical location, or better still, not every aspect that we get on the media will suit our context. They will begin to tell you, okay, acupuncture. In our geographical location, me and you here, we have never heard of acupuncture, or maybe we might have heard of it. We don't know what it is all about, and we don't have those people who actually can, who are practitioners of acupuncture. I believe that we will always walk along the line of what we have at the level of our geographical location. Another thing is, I will stream it down to the social media as a whole. You know, if you look at the social media, you see a lot of groups. People come up because they want to sell themselves, or they want to have, they want to trend. They will pick up any type of material and just put in their platforms, and then people begin to go and take, and then they use. Me and you, we are aware that many youths or many persons are fallen victims of picking one of these things and then practicing them without verifying the authenticity or the facts, or verifying how truthful are these things. You will see a lady who will see something because you have one or two problems on your skin, and let's say you develop acne or a kind of rash on your face, and instead of you to go and seek for medical attention in the hospital or in an organized institution or legalized institution, they have prescribed mixed ingredient A with ingredient B and ingredient C, and this thing is going to clear off. You go and you start doing it. The other day I was browsing to a certain Facebook group, and I came across a lady whose body is being peeled off. It's peeling. It's like you peel potato. The body is peeling off because she wanted to change her color from who she is to some other thing that words cannot describe. And at the end of the day, she comes out to decry foul that, oh, she has used this thing because a certain lady asked her to do it. So we have to be very careful on the type of information we picked out there on social media. Some are good as well as some are not good. We need to verify the authenticity, whether it is trustworthy, and the source of that particular information. I will want the 12 viewers out there to always go to verify web pages. Like you have WHO is there, you have WebMed, you have other medical platforms which are there also. And if you have come across a social media page or platform, try to verify the person's history, the person's background. Where is he coming from? What has he done? Although nowadays AI too has come, people can just use AI and do one or two things and put in their platform and you think that is authentic. But we have to be careful because there are other means that we can verify some of this information. And lastly, and what you want to get also matters, because what you need will also determine where you get it from. If I need something that will help me, let's say, to deal with the depression which we are talking about, or with stress as a whole, I know that there are counselors around. I can meet a priest. A priest can be of help in terms of stress management. You know, there's a medical angle also that can be of help in terms of stress management. You can meet people who have been in that field which you find yourself. You might be a student, you might be a medical worker, you might be a social worker, you might be whatsoever. So you meet people who have been there. Ask them, when you were in this position, how did you manage so and so condition? Because right now I feel like the world is falling on my shoulder. I need to work on this. I myself, being a leader in various domains, I have my own means of managing some of these things, and I know where I can get information to help myself. So I know which button to push, and I know which phone number to call.
Thank you very much, there, Mr. Leonard. Dear televiewers, if you are just joining us, we are on the program Youth Corner, and in today's edition of the program, we are talking about mental health awareness and so we are focusing on anxiety and depression. Madam Doctor, I would like to turn on to you. We have gotten that the media, we cannot get authentic information about our health, and so it is always good that we check the authenticity of the information we get out there in order to better ourselves. And so I would like to ask, how can we create a supportive community that will help us foster our youth development, since we focus on the young persons and we see that most young persons are going the wrong path? So how can we bring them back together to see that our community becomes a better place?
Thank you, brother. There are various ways you can create a supportive community to make our youth to come back to the right path, to come back to the path of truth. Now, one of the things is we have to, first of all, the person wants to call the youth back to yourself. Examine yourself. Like I think one famous philosopher mentioned, an unexamined life is not worth living. You cannot be, people always say do what I say, not what I do, but I always say that is not correct, because you cannot tell me to be doing anything and I'm seeing you doing the opposite. It's especially as a young person, I'm easily moved by what I'm seeing. So if I'm seeing you doing the opposite, I'll definitely follow you in the opposite. My mind, I'm feeling like that opposite is the right thing. So you want to call people back to the right path. Examine yourself. Are you doing the right thing? Are you doing something which is worth emulating? Are you living the life which is worth copying? That way people can look at you, so that when you stand to talk in front of them, I'm not saying that we should be perfect. Normally we cannot be perfect. We are just humans striving to be perfect. However, we have to struggle, especially when you are in a position of leadership, a position of education, like a parent, a guardian, a priest, a counselor, a therapist. All these things, you are the one to stand. Sometimes you are the one to check yourself. Now, when you have checked yourself, you have seen that, okay, this is it, I can actually lead this person in your one way or two. Then you tell that person that you have to, first of all, be a non-judgmental person. You should not be the kind of person that if I tell you my thing today, for example, brother, you tell me your thing, before we step out of this studio, the president has heard, Brother Ambrose has heard, another person has heard. Then you are not trustworthy. You're not someone I would like to confide in. So make sure that you're a non-judgmental person. You are one person who listens and doesn't judge. You are always ready to give a listening ear to the person. It doesn't matter what the person has done. The highest you can do is to advise that person. I've not said that we should not reprimand, because there's a thin line between letting people go scot-free and not calling them to order. Now, you should not judge, but however, you should know that you are able to call people to order. That's another part too. You should be able to call people to order, be able to call people out on their bluff. When someone has done something wrong, be able to tell the person that black is black and white is white. Do not sugarcoat anything. Now, that way, you have already created an environment, an enabling environment. The person, whoever has to come up to you, has seen that you are worthy, you are trustworthy, they can come to you. Now, we can create an enabling environment by educating those around us, by telling the people around us that this is what depression, this is what mental health issues are. Now, we should make them to understand that it is not a disease that cannot be, it's not a disease, it is not something that cannot be handled. It is not something from space. It is not witchcraft. Make them to feel comfortable in that space. You should create a space which is comfortable, a space which feels like home. A place where they can come in and pour out their hearts, be it to you, be it to your colleagues, to your fellow members. A place where someone feels free. I feel like this is a place where I can let go. I can cry from now till tomorrow, and I do not have someone telling me that, oh, why are you crying? You're overdoing the thing. No, I have someone who listens to me, who tells me that, Doris, it is going to be fine. It is going to be okay. We can also create these things by educating them, playing shows with them, recommending books. It is very important to read, brother. Recommend books for them to read. That way, when they go back home, they can go through those books. They can go through those articles. They can go through those, like Brother Leo mentioned, the World Health Organization page. They can go through those articles which have been written by others. Now, we can also make an enabling environment in a way that we make the space to be free. We do not make it to look like where you are sitting, we are spying on you. We do not make it to look like I'm having a session with you. For example, I can come to meet the president, but I want to talk to you because I have something to complain about. And then 2 to 3, someone is already entering. People are only peeping in, peeping out. It makes it look like a suspicious environment, like I'm not safe in this place. So first things first, we should make it in a way that people are safe. People should look at you and know that you are not judgmental. People should know that whatever they tell you, you will take it to your grave. You know, whatever they tell you, and if it is above them, they are going to tell another trusted person who can handle your situation. People should know that no matter how bad it gets, no matter how messy it gets, there is always that person or those persons that they can always run to. Make yourself a safe space, a safe haven for people to run to, people to come to, and they know that they are not judged, they are well listened to, and they can be given advice which can help them.
Thank you very much, Madam Doris. We start to make ourselves a safe space where people feel belong, where people feel open to pour out, where people feel loved and likewise cared for. Mr. Leona, do you have anything to add as per the characteristics of a supportive environment to see how to help those who are being plagued by mental health challenges?
Yes, brother, very, very important. Just to add to what Madam Doris is saying there, I think she's hitting the point. And one of the major things which I really emphasize on is secrecy. How to keep secret. Because what that person is telling you is a person's secret. He or she has looked around left, right, center and couldn't find someone that she can explain the issues to, and comes to you because she believes in you or he believes in you, and things that you can actually get him or her out of the situation which she finds herself. It reminds me of my days in the health school, whereby when we were being when they were graduating us, we were under oath to keep secret. Whatever the patient tells you, you have to keep it as a secret. It ends between you and the patient, because there's a law in our country whereby if I expose your medical secret to somebody, I'm liable under the law. The law can come after me and it's punishable. And I think that keeping the medical side apart, under normal circumstance, if a child, just like a child walks up to the mother and explains something to the mother owes that child the responsibility to keep that as a secret if the child wants it to end as a secret. So I think first and foremost, the person whom the situation is being presented to. Secondly, the environment also, as we have rightly said, it should be comfortable. It should be comfortable for both the person who has the issue and the person who is acting as the helper or the counselor at that particular moment. And also the person who is going to give out the help to the person is supposed to communicate in a very polite manner, or in a manner which understanding is going to be the order of the day. You cannot be a student of, let's say, Form 2, Form 3, and you walk up to somebody who is, let's say, a master's student or a PhD student or somebody who has gone far in education, and that child presents something to you and you begin to bring grammar left, right, center, and you are speaking a kind of grammar that child cannot understand because you have attained a particular level and you know more about what the child is saying, and you begin to call some terms which are not resonating that child's mentality. That child will think that you are just disturbing, you are instead adding to her problems, and she might sit there listening and just waiting for you to finish, let her get out of that place. And at the end of the day, she will finish. You will hear the person say, "Thank God, they don't finish, ma, go." So I think the language of communication matters. Your body language also matters. Oftentimes, people have gone for such help, and instead of the persons helping them out, they instead add to more of their problems. A young girl will go to a man for counseling or to help they get out of a particular situation. Instead of this person to help that person, the lady, you turn and you ask the lady out. Okay, do you like swimming? Have you ever gone for this? Yes, it's a therapy. Now, the lady might not understand what you are going to, but at the end of the day, you find out that, you have not achieved your goal. And you see such persons become so disrespectful to that person. And you begin to ask yourself, auntie, sister, why are you being disrespectful to this person? You might not understand where she's coming from. And all we are saying is, let us try to have a very calm environment, know our language tone, our body language too also counts, because our body language speaks more of us than we ever can imagine. And finally, the environment as a whole.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leonard. Dear televiewers, I hope the information or our doctrine about mental health awareness has penetrated the depths that we hope that it should penetrate, as how we have been talking about, seeing how to manage the self and likewise the environment, because the environment can be as a prompting figure for all of this, and likewise a safe space where everybody feels welcome, everybody feels safe to participate and likewise live freely. Dear televiewers, after this break, we shall be bringing to you activities that concern the young person in our diocese. Welcome back, dear televiewers, to this second segment of our program where we shall be bringing to you activities carried out by the young person in a diocese, and the topmost activities that we are all waiting for is the upcoming Diocesan Youth Week celebration, which is coming up on the 15th of July 2025, and we'll be talking about one of the requirements for that particular come together that we are hoping to get all the young persons, and this requirement is the membership card. It has been a song, we have been singing it for so long, and now we have membership card. I would just like to beg Ambrose to put up an image of the membership card so that we see what we mean by when we say we have a membership card now in the diocese. Ambrose, please, for the image. While waiting for the image, as we can see on our screen, that is the Diocesan membership card for the young persons in the Diocese of Buea. And Mr. President, I wish to ask, when we look at other membership card, we see the information there. We see the name, the surname, date of birth. Why all this information on the membership card?
Yeah, it's just simply to have tracking information of the various youths in the diocese, to have a stock. It's like taking stock of who is part of the ministry and who is not part of the ministry. And just like a national identity card, so this one identifies you as a bona fide youth under the Diocese of Buea, under the Federation of Catholic Youth in the Diocese of Buea as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We have been singing the issue of the membership card for so long. Madam Doris, I would like to turn to you. For how long have people waited for the membership card in Tikozineri before I come to the president?
Brother, when it comes to these membership card issues, it has been a lot. We have bothered, we have called President Leo until people have been calling their parish presidents are calling me, membership card. Brother, we have waited for so long. Seriously, it has been years upon years, but then so far this time I can say that it has not stayed as much as it used to before. So production has really been, if your membership card has taken a long time to come out, it means the fault is on you. You have not submitted your full information, because so far just between last year and this year, it has not taken as long as it used to take before. But before we waited for so long.
Thank you very much, Madam Doris. I can remember when I was still an altar server, when we paid for our membership card, we were given something like a carton, a small piece of carton, which was yellow at the time.
Yeah.
Then your picture was attached to it. So, President, why the innovation? Why are we having something like this now and not the carton that some of us know it is the membership card?
This one, I think it's durable. The cardboard paper that we used to have back in the days used to be like a temporary something. You know, you cannot actually use it for more than a month, especially when you walk around with it. With this one, it's plastified, it's waterproof, and it's going to last for a long while. You can easily slip it into your wallet or your purse and stuff like that. And with this, it looks more recent, more advanced, and more mature as a whole. You know, you can't get an A4 cardboard and you're moving around with, and the actual membership card, you begin to show that. I think that since as technology is advancing and we're innovating, this is part of the innovation process at level of the Youth Federation, the DSO Boya.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. It is an innovation, which is, I must say, is a very good one. And I move around the parishes. Some young persons say, brother, I've gotten my membership card, and they are very happy about it. While we have others who have not gotten the card. And so what are the things they are supposed to do in order to purchase a card? And somebody who does not have a card, is the person going to be allowed to participate during our upcoming rally? We come 15th of July.
This one is the major prerequisite to participate in that upcoming Youth Week, Youth Camp, another way. And it's very simple to own it. Once you identify yourself under a youth apostolate, under the 6th youth apostolate under the Federation, you are liable to have it. All you need to do is, there's a form which is online. Everybody has a form. Your leader just needs to fill that form and then send the information to us at the level of the office. From there, we are going to process the information. And what you do is you use your Android phone. You take a picture of yours, a clear picture against any background, but it should be, your ears should be visible. And then you send to us. From there, you pay your 1,000 francs, or if you have paid, you just sit back. We'll give you a call, and then you come and collect your card. Not like back in the days where you will need to travel all the way to the youth office to submit physical information, and in course of traveling, information might get mixed up along the way, delays and so on and so forth. So we have bypassed that. So you can sit at the comfort of your home, and then you do all these things and you send to us. So that is how it has been.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I see you have so many cards. So after production, how can these cards get to those who cannot come to the office? Because I know the youth office is in Mutengene. How can somebody in Bafia, somebody in Munyenge, somebody in Kata get their card without necessarily coming back to the office?
Yeah, it's very simple. Just like we do with the circulars, we parcel and send. At times, if the leader we can call up the leader to come to the office and collect for his or her youth that he or she governs. But if that's not possible, we normally we ship it to the area where it is coming from. That is not something which will cost the office. Wherever you are in this diocese, we will make sure that your card reaches you insofar as you have gone through the right channel.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I hope all the young persons out there have gotten the information about the membership card. It is a necessity to participate during our upcoming Daresan Youth Week celebration, and so it is advisable that we all purchase a card, and it is just 1,000 francs, and the other things needed is just your information, which means you should not be scammed. I know there are some people who will say, brother, I have paid my own 1,000 francs almost 5 times. You have paid true enough, but you have not rectified to the person to whom you paid. And so it is always good that we see how to rectify to those we gave our money to, so that they can rectify back to so that they can relate back to the office, and a card to be produced and produced on time. Because now we are doing production, and production is going to end on the 10th of July. So rush and see how to make the necessary links and the necessary informations at hand, so that your own card should be produced. Madam Doris, as we are wrapping up, any advice to the young persons with regards to our Daresan Youth Week celebration that is coming up?
Yes, brother, with regards to our Daresan Youth Week celebration coming up, youth should prepare themselves. It is going to be a once in a lifetime Diocesan Youth Week celebration. We know that we always get these things in the month of December. So this is the first of its kind. So I don't think any youth will want to miss the first Diocesan Youth Week celebration happening in the month of July. It is going to be one of its kind, and every youth coming should come along with the requirements for that rally, for that youth camp. These things are on the circular: your plates, your mattresses, your spoons, your pullovers, your drugs, if any. And youths too should prepare themselves. Prepare yourselves for your ballet, your Bible quiz, your dancing, and prepare yourselves to come and receive Christ, because you're going to have a very wonderful pilgrimage. Prepare yourselves, open your hearts to receive Christ, open your hearts to know more about Christ, and come as a very disciplined and organized deanery, because you're going to come in as deaneries. Come first of all as an organized and disciplined you, then come as organized and disciplined deaneries. I promise you, when we do all of these things, we are going to enjoy this youth camp, one of its kind, the first in the month of July, the first which has ever happened in the middle of the year.
Thank you very much, Madam Doris. Mr. President, any last words before we go?
Everything has been put in place as we speak. Everything has been put in place to cater for whatever condition we meet out there. And I think we should not look at the finances. We should not look at the finances, because there's a say that where there's a will, there will be a means. First of all, let's have that will, and the means will fall in place, God being a helper. We look forward to seeing ourselves 15th to the 20th of July at Sasek College there with our other brethren.
Thank you very much, then, Mr. President. Just to add to what you have said, we'd like to encourage all the young persons. I've heard so many persons complaining already about the finances. I must say the finances are limited, yes, because with what we have in stock for you, the money should not really be a problem. But I think, as the president has said, where there is a will, there is obviously a way. You still have to make the way to come and join the others, because I know of those who are already there waiting for us to meet. And so it will also be something nice for you to join the moving train, because it's a train that is moving. And dear televiewers, in the subsequent editions of the program, we shall be bringing to you highlights about the upcoming Youth Week celebration, as we shall start by revisiting the secular and picking out important aspects from the secular to make it known not just to the young persons, but out there to our televiewers, those who are watching, and those who are even interested in taking part in the activities out of the diocese, and what they can do and how they can come in when it is time to participate and when it is time for the Youth Week celebration. Once more, I want to thank you for being part of the program today, Mr. Former Donor.
Thank you very much, brother. It's an honor.
Thank you. I also thank you, Madam Doris, for being part of today's edition of the program.
Thank you very much, brother.
Want to likewise thank the station manager in the person of Madam Joyce Bong, and thank also the Bishop of the Diocese of Boya in the person of Monsignor Mike Bibi, and thank the Diocesan Youth Chaplain in the person of Reverend Father Ansem Kibi. And for presentation, I've been Cleveland Atko. Behind the camera, we have Bobga Randy and Brother Tasang Ambrose. From our end to yours, it is bye-bye for now.
Calvary, yeah, the same sacrifice.